Story that we're tracking, we at Mirror Now have been running a campaign to highlight the plight of many women who have been victims of brazen sexual harassment at the elite High Spirits pub in Pune. Spilling the beans of this dirty lounge bar a few days ago, Mirror Now ventured into the misogynist den and unraveled how sexist drunkards treated women merely as objects of pleasure. And now, finally, the police have taken cognizance of Mirror Now's mega coverage. The Mundhwa police has started a suo-moto inquiry into these allegations of sexual harassment against the owner of High Spirits pub in Pune. The police has initiated an investigation by speaking to all the women who had posted about this issue on social media. Interactions with the current employers as well as pubs regulars have also been conducted. The police has also set up a body of women constables for aggrieved members to register their complaint on this issue.
It calls for a big Mirror Now impact, and finally, after a mega coverage, it has forced Pune police to act. In fact, the Pune police has started the suo-moto inquiry against the sexual harassment allegations by the High Spirits owner out there. And in fact, just to recall for our viewers, it started a week ago where a lot of women came on the social media and they posted messages even on the blog saying that how they were sexually assaulted, harassed, molested and even groped by the High Spirits owner out there, and there was no action from the Pune police for the past 1 week. But after Mirror Now visited on ground and did a ground reality check, it has finally forced Pune police to start the suo-moto inquiry. And what we understand, as part of the investigation, the Pune police is going to reach out to all the victims who have been harassed by the owner out there, and they are also going to employ women constables at that point in time, so that the women who have been the victims, they don't feel uncomfortable or awkward while filing a complaint. What we also understand from the Pune police concerned is that they are going to finish investigating the entire matter in a week's time. Although they have not started investigating the owner yet, what we understand, he is vacationing somewhere and he will return only next week. And after that, the Pune police will start investigating and questioning him as well. And also, as part of the investigation, the Pune police is also going to talk to the ex-employees who had worked in High Spirits and the current employees as well. So what we understand, this definitely calls for a big Mirror Now impact, because finally the inquiry has begun, but police is still waiting for victims to come forward to file a complaint so that a case can be registered. This is Isha Shah for Mirror Now.
Joining me on the phone line is Brinda Arige, women's rights activist. Thank you very much, Brinda, for joining in. Your response, the fact that the police has finally taken suo-moto cognizance, launched an investigation, but the sad part is it was done only after relentless coverage from our end.
You're right. The media coverage has prompted the police to take suo-moto action. But we know when suo-moto actions of this nature are taken, it is not very well received in courts. I personally have experience of this also, because they say that if a complainant registers the case, then there is more power or more impetus given to the case. And here, after the police has registered it because of media coverage, we need to get victims and survivors to start talking about it, making a statement, because it is high time such people who blatantly know that they have the powers, their influence behind them, they continue to sexually assault, make sexually colored remarks, and sexism is there in that space wherever women are, without any dignity that is given to the women customers. And I do not understand how that man has continued to have his pub or whatever that is open, abusing women like this, customers like this. It is time now that the police have come forward and taken a suo-moto action, and that too only because of media coverage. It is important now for the ex-employees to also give proper statements. And I also understand that the owner is somewhere out on a holiday. We just hope that he does not go absconding. Because very often in cases of this nature, we never get the perpetrator and the culprit. All the time they are absconding. They may be doing everything else outside, but technically they are not available for the case. In this particular one, the police need to be very clear, very sure, giving him the message and saying that we are waiting for your return. There is a warrant, which means the police should not only have a suo-moto case there, but they need to have a proper case where they have their warrants in place. Because if they don't have their warrants in place, this man is going to continue like this. Anyway, they have not yet shut that part down.
In fact, I'm going to take that question, Brinda, to Dhanraj Vanjari, who's also joining in on the phone line. Thank you, Mr. Vanjari, for joining us on the phone today. What Brinda was just saying, the fact that the owner at this point is said to be on vacation. We don't know whether he's gone underground, whether he's attempting to abscond. But what can the police really do to ensure that he doesn't go absconding in this particular case now that they have started their investigation?
Police have already started investigation. I am very happy suo-moto cognizance the police have taken and investigation process is on. Now the investigation nature is like that. This man is not a simple criminal, but he is a perpetrator of a conspiracy. What conspiracy he did? Pune is a city where every year more than 20,000 new students come because it is a college city. Now these students age group is 19 to 21. What he does through the college propaganda, he makes some of his own people to go to college and talk to the student that if you are not seen high spirit, you are lagging behind. It's something very high dignified in the society and every student must have it. So this is the psychological force he is as a part of design of crime implementing on the students, and that is the only reason why he perpetually getting the customer and his business is run more than 13-14 years. Now, the main accused, he will be arrested. Police will track him wherever he goes. This is not a simple crime. He is corrupting the social minds of young people, young generation of this country. If he is absconding, that itself is a proof against his own guilt and against his crime. He has committed some heinous crime. That's why there is a need for him to run away. Now, like other high-profile criminals, he even can go for anticipatory bail in Sessions Court, High Court, or maybe in Supreme Court. But police will definitely track him. And I am hopeful as regards being a own police officer. I worked in the system and I have all my faith in the Pune Commissioner, particularly a lady Commissioner, Rashmi Shukla, madam. She will not let the things go like that.
Right. Right. Brinda, coming back to you, how important do you think is it that the victims or those who have been harassed in this particular pub actually come forward? Because from what the police are saying, they're saying that the victims need to come forward as that will help their investigation.
Mr. Dhanraj, that victims have to come forward and give their statements. But then it is also the responsibility of the court to see that they extend proper protection to the victims. We do not have a Victim Protection Act or any kind of a scheme in our country, and that is why women rarely come forward to talk about these things. And like he said, that he will anyway take anticipatory bail, which also means that only he is being pursued and not the others who have connived with him. Abetting to something like this should also be a part of that case that is registered. He says that there were some of his people, his staff, who went to colleges to tell that, you know, it is fashionable to be seen in high spirits. So all of them should be booked under abetment to this crime because they have been party to it. And the next thing the police have to do is extend that victim protection. Because if they do not extend that protection, victims will not be able to come forward. They have to also carry on and move on with life.
Right.
And the court has to try these cases at the earliest, not prolong it for more than a year.
Right. Also joining me is lawyer Trisha Shetty. Thank you very much for joining in. From a purely legal perspective, Brinda was just telling us the fact that sometimes these kind of suo-moto cases are not taken very well in court. Do you agree with that? And also, how would this now proceed in terms of from the complainant's views as well? Because the police are asking people to sort of come forward if they have faced harassment here.
Right. So most definitely, to resonate with what Brinda Adhikari said, it does certainly help the police in their investigation process when complainants do come forward. And also it puts a little bit of pressure on them, because here we're expecting the police to do what they should have done from the very first day, which is take suo-moto cognizance based on the video evidence that they have. It's only after repeated pressure by Mirror Now did they then finally do what they should have done without public pressure and taken suo-moto cognizance. I will still say that it's not right for the police to, say that they will not do their job till the time victims come forward, because the law does not mandate you to do so. The case is registered from the state versus the defendant, not with victims' names versus defendant. So anyways, it's upon the state to ensure that they get all the evidence that they need to. And anyway, we do have video evidence. There is multiple accounts of women going online, taking their names, not just divulging accounts of anonymously, but there's also a blog that a past employee has put up alleging sexual harassment. So all of that is enough evidence for the police to initiate action to arrest Khodo Iranian, and the allegations that he's being allegedly going to be arrested under are all non-bailable offences. I mean, under 354, they're non-bailable offences. So even if he takes anticipatory bail, I don't understand how he could get bail for such cases, unless, of course, he's putting clout and influence. So taking everything into account, finally the police has done what they should have done on the very first day. But I feel like, again, victims, of course, should come forward, but even if they don't, there is enough ground here to initiate action.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a caller who's called in, Kailash from Mumbai. Hi, Kailash, thanks for calling in. Tell us, what would you like to say?
Yeah, this is first of all a very shocking incident. And, I'm sorry if I sound pessimistic, but the problem here is what, our systems are so lazy, so lagging, And yes, it has to be given importance. The victim has to be, the culprit has to be arrested. Victim has to be given justice. Everything, yes. But the prosecution, the cops, the judiciary, I'm sorry to say, they are all lazy. They don't do anything. And after 1 week, the news headline goes off. Nobody is bothered. And judiciary, 30, 40 years, I don't know, man. Really sorry to say I'm sounding pessimistic, but that's the fact. And that's the reason why this crime continues to happen. And the judiciary is not making, a prosecution is not making any example out of these culprits, And that's the reason the other culprits, they get away, and they also dare to commit such crimes. Judiciary, prosecution needs, and the cops, they needs to be reformed. And they have to really tighten their belts. Right. We are still living in the British laws era. Everything has to be dusted and to be seatbelt tightened. Otherwise, I'm really sorry to say, nothing is going to happen. Right.
Absolutely. Kailash, thank you for calling us. In fact, I'm going to take that point across to Mr. Vanjari. Mr. Vanjari, the fact that what Kailash just said, I think resonates across with a lot of people who believe that this is not going to, this will just, because there is under media attention at this point, they're doing this investigation and eventually it will just die down. This sense of disillusionment that so many citizens have, that also perhaps comes in the way of a complainant actually going forward and lodging an official complaint.
There is no point in talking discouraging things on the channel. I understand one thing, whole system is like this, and I don't think system will reach up to that. This kind of very remarks on the channel is not accepted. Let me tell you, we have very good examples like Ram Rahim and all other things where we got the accused convicted in court of law. So for time being, let's not go too much anticipatory and believe our system of investigation and system of criminal jurisprudence, that is court. Now in this, I was just listening some of the panelists who were talking about the evidence, whether the witnesses will come forward or not. I tell you, as per IT Act, Information Technology 2000 Act is available to us. Digital evidence is something fantastically been brought forth in this particular case. What has happened? The people just started narrating their story once it has broke, and thanks to Mirror Now, they have taken initiative. There is 100 of the victims who have posted their agony. Even if they say, I do, that is a digital evidence, because on the media, social media, their identity can be fixed, and their saying is itself is evidence. I don't think even they need to go to police to record their statement or go to the court to give their testimony thereby. But they are very much approved and already proved evidence is the digital evidence, what they are narrating of their agony. I think no court in India will just refuse this piece of evidence. The court has to take cognizance of that evidence, and thereby there will be ample ground to convict the accused in this case, main accused.
Right. Trisha Shakti, coming back to you, if you can just, take forward the point that Mr. Manjari was just talking about, and whether this kind of digital evidence, because there's been a whole host of people who have put out comments and the way they narrated experiences, how much will that really go in as far as taking this investigation now to the next level so that action can really be taken?
Look, I'll be honest, it all would depend on the kind of public pressure, the unsurmountable public pressure and consistency in public pressure that we keep putting on the police to do their job. I would like to disagree that once the court takes cognizance of the crime and the FIRs, etc., have been filed, witnesses technically do have to go to the court and file their statement, that is under 164 of the CRPC, where witnesses have to give their confessions, their statements to the metropolitan magistrate or the judicial magistrate. So that is part and process of the procedure, which is why witnesses coming forward does help, because it strengthens the case. And also then your faces behind all the victims who are coming forward. Of course, their anonymity is maintained. So if any victim is listening to this, survivor is listening to this and is afraid that her identity would be disclosed, no, it isn't. For such crimes, the identity cannot be disclosed. The media coverage cannot, disclose the identity. But victims coming forward will certainly help strengthen the case, bolster the case, keep the momentum at it. But at the same time here, if we expect police to take suo-moto cognizance, which they have, and continue to do their job, we as a people would definitely need to be vigilant and keep the pressure on, because expecting the police to do their job in our country where money and influence can buy its way through things, and we've seen it happen, would be putting too much faith on the system. Having said that, it is also important to trust the system, because there is no other option. We can't have a vigilante system where we, take law into our own hands. If we expect the system to work, then we need to work with it as well.
Right. And Trisha, the fact that, even if one person comes out and comes in with an official complaint, lodges that, would that be enough to sort of take the whole thing forward?
Definitely. Even the law does not require 10 people to come forward or 100 people to come forward. Even one person coming forward and saying that they have been sexually abused is recognized as a crime against the state. So most definitely, even if one victim comes forward and says, I have been sexually abused, and again, there's no statute of limitation. So she may have been abused years ago or a few months ago. If she can justify reason for delay, and the reason could be the fact that she was intimidated, she felt threatened, but now that everyone is speaking up about it, she feels like she can come forward and complain. They don't even need to have evidence. There needs to be no video evidence of this happening. Very often victims feel like, there's no evidence. What is the proof? Will people believe me? That's for the law and the courts to decide.
Right.
Only thing we'd implore upon survivors is come forward and complain.
Right. Brinda, coming back to you, in terms of, in your experience, these kind of cases, how do they typically move forward?
See, very many times, like Trisha pointed out, we need to have the victim come to the police, to the court and make that statement before the magistrate. But I would like to place on record here that it is important for the courts, for the magistrates to look at this case from the perspective of the woman, and also understand that they cannot be asked to come 3-4 times. They cannot be asked to wait over there just to give their deposition or be cross-questioned or cross-examined, because these are small things which might look small to somebody else that deters women and victims coming there. And it is also necessary that the court begin their judicial activism. Complete this case in the minimum of 6 months to 1 year and not prolong it, because every time the case gets prolonged, the victim then gets discouraged, taking an off from their office or coming to the court, sitting the whole day. In our courts, we don't have a time that between this time to this time you will be giving your deposition and you will be cross-examined and you can leave. There are entire days that victims come witness and then their witness statement and deposition is never taken. And this is very discouraging. It's very disheartening. And that is why after the police finish with their part of the investigation, the court needs to be swift as well as stringent.
Right.
And
all right. We've got another caller joining us on the phone line, Shailesh from Pune. Hi, Shailesh. Thanks so much for calling in. Tell us, what would you like to say?
Yeah, madam. I'm from Pune, and I have been visiting this place, High Spirits, in Koregaon Park since last 15 years, since my college days. And as long as you see the legacy of the place has been very neat, nice. There have been strictly rules being followed over there about the age limit. The age has been checked, 18 and 21. And as long as if you go and you're showing it on the television, the Khodu Irani should be arrested. So.
Right. So what are you saying, that the owner should not be held responsible in this?
No, actually, if you see, you should go into the detail and see the place has been running on since last 10, 15 years. The place is absolutely very good. And
Mr. Shailesh, what about all the people, the women who have come out and actually said that they have been harassed? Just log on to Zomato, go to Twitter. You will see the kind of incidents that have been narrated.
Yeah, madam, you are very right on what you are saying. I also have highest regard of respect for the women, and as long as you know, there are all major women and the guys who are coming. There is no one below the age which has been permitted inside. That place gets shut at 11:30.
So you're saying that just because there's nobody underage, that means that if all the women who are there are above 18 and 21, they can be sexually, sexual innuendos, etc. Is that okay?
Yeah, madam. The women who have gone through this, 100%, they should go and report it to the owner or the manager at the place, and they should file a complaint against the person who has done this. But holding the owner itself liable for this is very wrong.
Mr. Shailesh, the fact is, this kind of behavior within any restaurant, within this particular pub, cannot happen if the owner does not know it's happening. If this owner was serious about it, he would have taken cognizance of what was happening and would have suspended the employees who were indulging in this kind of behavior. He would have come out himself, and he would not be absconding at this point where he is right now. He's supposedly on vacation. But I'm afraid I don't agree with you there. But thank you so much for calling in. Mr. Vanjari, coming back to you, the fact that what will it now take for the licenses of this restaurant to actually get revoked?
Licenses will be cancelled immediately. Once the case is registered, the authority is there with the commissioner. He can ask the report from the concerned DCP, and he will go for cancellation of the license. Now, as it is being said repeatedly that he is absconding. Let me tell you, as per Section 8 of Indian Evidence Act, if the conduct of a criminal, subsequent and the previous, both the conducts becomes evidence against him. Now, if he is absconding, that means that it proves his guilt.
Absolutely.
What is the reason for him to go absconding? Otherwise, he should have come forward. If he is clean, he should have come forward to face the charges. He is not doing that. Now, as when Mr. Maske was talking on the line, some caller from Pune, and he told since last 14 years, being a student, and since my time, I was going there and I find all these things. I think this deposition on the channel across the national one, your channel, this itself is a piece of evidence. When it has been brought forth, even if Mr. Maske goes to police or not, immaterial, but he can be cited as a witness that there are such type of reports coming on the media and where the person talking live. One point had come, which I'll just make clear in 1 second. That,
right.
Somebody said that 164 confession and all these things, that is all routine practices, but not much encouraging. I am harping more on the digital evidence.
Right.
What is going on social media, it's a digital evidence, and on digital plateau, we can fix the identity of the person.
Yes.
So no court is going to deny it. Court has to believe it as a concrete piece of evidence in this case, and I am all the way hopeful, being a cop, I am all the way hopeful that this case will definitely end in conviction of the accused and the two main accused.
Right. Absolutely, Mr. Vanjari. That's exactly the point. There's a whole host of digital evidence that is available here. And even if, as Trisha was also saying, even if one person comes forward, that will definitely help boosting this case and pushing it forward. But we at Mirror Now will continue to track every single development as far as this investigation is concerned, and until proper action is taken. And on that note, that's a wrap on this edition of The Big Story. Thanks for watching.